Các anh gặp tình trạng yếu sinh lý, suy giảm ham muốn, xuất sớm, rối loạn cương. Chỉ 2 viên trên ngày giúp tăng cường khả năng sinh lý nam. Vợ chồng sinh hoạt đều đặn, cơ thể khỏe khoắn, dẻo dai, tinh thần minh mẫn, cải thiện giấc ngủ, giảm tình trạng tiểu đêm, đau lưng, mỏi gối, làm chậm quá trình mãn dục ở nam giới.
Cái sản phẩm chuẩn Xuân Vương này, từ khi tôi sử dụng thì tôi thấy sức khỏe rất tốt, chung là ngủ tốt, mà về bên đây sinh lý cũng rất tốt. Thì so với cái sản phẩm khác thì tôi thấy nó tốt rất nhiều, tốt hơn rất là nhiều.
Công nhận là cái sản phẩm này quá hiệu quả. Từ khi mà ông xã nhà tôi sử dụng cái sản phẩm Trường Xuân Vương này, bà biết như nào, không ngờ được luôn. Eo ơi, thật sự là trước kia ấy, vài tháng không đụng đến, có khi nửa năm hai vợ chồng cũng chả đụng chạm gì. Nhưng đến khi sử dụng cái sản phẩm này cái ôi dồi ôi, lên vù vù, tôi thật sự choáng luôn ấy.
Thực ra mà nói tôi đã dùng cái này được 1 tháng rồi. Hiện nay chứng rối loạn cương dương, xuất tinh sớm của tôi là hết sạch. Và lúc nào cũng thấy vợ thì cũng vui, thấy mình cũng vui. Cái công việc lại làm ăn lại suôn sẻ. Nói thật với các bạn là như thế. Bây giờ thì tôi phục vụ bà ấy tới bến luôn.
Sản phẩm Trường Xuân Vương này rất là tốt. Thì tôi dùng khoảng được 2 tuần. Tôi thấy cảm thấy người nó khỏe khoắn ra. Mà bởi khi tôi dùng được 1-2 tháng rồi, nó đỡ ra. Mà coi như cảm thấy đi lại với vợ nó khoan khoái hơn.
Qua cái thời gian sử dụng Trường Xuân Vương ấy, thì mình thấy là cơ thể mình khỏe lên rất là nhiều. Và mình thấy sinh lực của mình nó dồi dào hơn rất là nhiều. Khỏe mình đã tốt lên rất là nhiều. Mình ham muốn nhiều hơn. Đời sống của vợ chồng nó phong phú hơn và nó hạnh phúc hơn rất nhiều. Mình chơi thể thao cũng thấy khỏe hơn nhiều và vận động thì không cảm thấy bị đau nhức xương khớp nữa. Rất là cảm ơn với đến sản phẩm Trường Xuân Vương vì nó giúp cho đời sống vợ chồng mình cũng như là cuộc sống của mình hạnh phúc hơn rất là nhiều và viên mãn hơn rất nhiều.
Gần đây tôi có biểu hiện của chứng rối loạn cương dương. Đây là một vấn đề rất là nhạy cảm. Sau khi sử dụng thử một liệu trình, tôi thấy sức khỏe cũng như những triệu chứng của tôi giảm rõ rệt. Chính vì sản phẩm này mà đời sống vợ chồng của tôi đã được cải thiện rất là nhiều.
Sản phẩm Trường Xuân Vương là sự kết hợp tinh túy giữa nhiều loại thảo dược tự nhiên như dâm dương hoắc, đỗ trọng, ba kích cùng nhiều thành phần nam y thảo mộc quý hiếm khác, được điều chế bằng công nghệ hiện đại, là sự kết hợp hoàn hảo giữa tinh hoa núi rừng và công nghệ tiên tiến, giúp tác động đồng thời vào 4 cơ chế sinh lý ở nam giới như mạch máu, thần kinh, nội tiết, tâm thần. Có tác dụng nâng cao sức khỏe nam giới, hỗ trợ bổ thận tráng dương, tăng cường khả năng sinh lý nam một cách bền vững.
Now I'm just busy testing out our new tool in our shop, and that is a vacuum chamber. And I honestly do have to say that this changed the way we build tables. This method is literally removing all the air bubbles from your epoxy. It was quite expensive, but definitely an investment for our company. Now, busy casting the epoxy, you will see as we cast more layers after one another, you will see the colors will become darker on the blue. And another tip I want to share with you guys, when you're going to pour your epoxy, pour it on a ridge, on an edge of your table. This will prevent more air bubbles from coming out. And another tip I want to share with you guys is that when you're casting your epoxy, cast it slowly. And as you can see, my live edges on my slabs are not sealed. Now, the way we previously done it in the past is we would seal our live edges with epoxy. We will wait for it to dry. Then we will come and scuff it and sand it up. So when we're going to cast our epoxy, that the new epoxy we're casting will bond to the edge of our slab. But we stopped using that method. Because if you think about it logically, we want the epoxy to penetrate into the wood. And thus is why we are using this method I'm currently using. We are using a deep casting epoxy, which means I can literally cast the full depth of this table in one go. But we see smaller dust particles that you need to remove before you're going to cast your epoxy. Now we're just busy placing all our pieces of wood into our mold we just built. And I know I'm most probably going to get some critics for this step, but we found in removing all the dust particles before we're going to cast our epoxy, we just use a leaf blower because there's enormous amount of air that comes out that goes into all the small little cracks and holes that will remove the last dust particles. Now I'm just busy calculating the amount of epoxy we're going to use, and this was a really tricky calculation because there was a lot of bends, twists and turns, height differences, but at the end it's not that difficult of a calculation to make. It's really simple if you don't complicate things too much. It's a simple calculation of length times width times height, and I will go more into detail on this in the center of this video, where I'm going to do some more explanation on a epoxy masterclass we are presenting for people that wants to start building epoxy tables. Now I'm just busy mixing my part A resin and my part B hardener together, and it's quite critical to get your ratios absolutely 100%. You don't want a mistake at this part. Another tip I want to share with you guys is in mixing your colors. The specific client asked for a transparent blue color, and it's quite critical in each batch of epoxy you're mixing that you add the exact same amount of drops in to have consistent color scheme.
I'll place it on a humidity tray that's filled with pebbles and a bit of water just to increase the local humidity a little bit. If you do all that, your ficus will be very happy and healthy. And the next time I probably need to prune this is in maybe 2 or 3 months from now, so there will be some new shoots, and simply prune them back to this silhouette. So, long story short, what we did today was a big maintenance, a lot of things we did at the same time, but the next 12 months, it's all about a little bit of pruning and proper bonsai care, watering, placement and fertilizing. That's it.
Learn how to create your own bonsai trees by enrolling in one of our online bonsai courses. We explain techniques like pruning, wiring and repotting, and you can ask questions to the teachers. add a first layer of soil into the pot, which is the completely inorganic mix. This will help drain out water of the pot. So then we place the tree on top of that first layer, and we use the long wires prepared earlier to attach the tree to the pot. The reason we wiggle the tree a little bit is that we want to make sure that there's no air pockets between the roots.
All right, we finished repotting and also the pruning and wiring. So quite a big difference with the tree before and after. But really the bones of the tree, the main structure was already there. The trunk with a nice movement, main branches. So basically we just brought back the shape of the tree and refined it by adding some wire around these branches. The repotting, I think, really had a big impact. The tree now is really in sync with the pot. It's even on the small side, I think, but as you can see, we used a bit of organic soil.
Something special. Something the client asked us that they don't want a traditional epoxy rivet table. They wanted something different, something funky. And that's where the design part of this project was really tricky. I think we took, normally when we design epoxy tables, we will take around about half an hour to an hour to design the layout. We will send it to the client and they were happy with it. With this specific project, we took almost, I would say, estimate around about 3 hours just to design this table. And I honestly do have to say that this table came out absolutely stunning. The specific wood species we are using for this project is called Matumi, because we always get queries internationally for all the tables we build. People always want to know what wood species we are using. So it's called Matumi, and unfortunately for all the international viewers, this is only locally sourced from South Africa. It comes more from Tseninworld up all the way into Botswana, going up all the way into Africa. It's one of the most popular wood species to build epoxy tables in our country. And I honestly do have to say the design came out magnificent. Also, another tip I want to share with you guys, what I'm busy doing now, is something we normally don't record on video. And before you're going to place your slabs into the mold, always make sure to airbrush them to remove all the dust particles from your slab. Also, remember to wipe your wood off, because there will always be I can guarantee you that most probably by the near future, there will always be smaller things in our shop we will change, just to make life easier for us and to make the design and manufacturing of building epoxy tables easier for us. And you guys do want to stick around till around about the middle part of this video, because there's a really important announcement we want to share with all the hobbyists, the DIYists, and for all the people that wants to start a company but don't know where to start. And you guys do want to stick around till the end to see how this masterpiece came out. Now, starting this week's project off, we are going to build something unique. has a massive CNC machine. Now we are obviously not in a position to purchase a CNC machine because it's truly really expensive. So for a small cost, we just take it to our supplier. It takes us around about 2 hours to flatten our table both sides. And this is the most critical step in making sure that you have a flat surface between your wood and your epoxy. Now, the way we previously done it, I think we only done it once or twice way at the start when we started manufacturing epoxy tables, is we would have done it manually with a router sled. Now, there's nothing wrong with it, but we found that it's so messy and it takes us just too much time in getting our surface flat. And that's why we don't waste our time anymore. We just pay the small fee, and doing it on a CNC machine is just way faster, and it saves us so much time in completing this project. Having the table back in my shop, we are going to start sanding with our Festool Rotex machine in the Rotex setting. Now, the Rotex setting is like a belt sander setting, but it's not as aggressive as a belt sander. This step is to remove all the CNC lines the CNC machine made. You will see on the table there's so many lines, and the first layer has become tacky. This masterclass has been designed for all woodworkers, from your beginner all the way up to your experts. Click on this video or in the description down below for more information. So the prices for the course will go up by next month, so you guys must probably have another week left. Then the course will double in price, so make sure you go and check it out before the prices go up. Continuing with the video, like I mentioned before, we are using a deep casting epoxy, which technically we can cast the whole table in one go, but what we found is that casting in layers, we are still using a deep casting epoxy, but casting the table over the course of say 5 to 6 days, casting a total amount of, depending on the thickness of the slab, we will cast around about five layers we will cast, and we found that this reduces the amount of bubbles we have. Remember, we don't seal our live edges, so you will always have small micro bubbles on the edge of your slab. This is why we cast in layers, because deep casting epoxy obviously takes longer to cure, and this helps us to remove 98% of all our air bubbles. Now, taking the table to one of our suppliers' shop, which he has.
The next step is pruning. To create a more compact design, we remove the top of the tree using a concave cutter. This branch will be bent upwards later on and function as the new apex. Pruning is considered the most difficult part of creating a bonsai tree. Try to follow our lead, or consider enrolling in our Getting Started with Bonsai course, where we explain the process of bonsai design in great detail. For the curriculum and a free lesson, go to bonsaiempire.com/courses. You can safely prune up to 1/3 of your tree's foliage. At this point, we are finished pruning the tree and work starts on wiring the branches. We start with wiring the main trunk, which is still flexible enough to bend. Carefully wrap the wire around the trunk at an angle of 45 degrees, holding the wire with one hand and the trunk with the other.
I am going to leave a link down in the description of this video where you can go to our website and where you can purchase this online epoxy masterclass. I think there's more than 1,000 people that already purchased the class, and we have so much positive feedback on people that started small companies, people that were so scared of working with epoxy that are so comfortable with working epoxy now, people that's making small chopping boards, people that's DIYists and hobbyists that were so afraid of working with epoxy, and now they are so comfortable with working with epoxy. Like I mentioned, this will literally show you every single thing in detail, how we manufacture and design all our tables. Check this ad out and you can decide for yourself if you want to purchase it or not.
We've been building epoxy tables for many years now, and we are finally going to share all our methods and techniques with you. My name is Greg, and I am going to show you how to build the perfect epoxy table. I'm going to show you all the tools you need, exactly how to use them, and show you some tips and tricks down the line. Everyone thinks you need to cast your second layer of epoxy once your first layer has set. That's not true. You need to cast your second layer of epoxy once you
still prefer to cast our epoxy in layers, which takes us round about 5 to 6 days. It's winter now, so it will take round about 6 days because the epoxy takes longer to cure. And this is a massive tip I want to share with you guys in casting the next layer. As you can see, the layer I'm busy tapping now is tacky. It's like a toffee, but it's still not a liquid form. And this is absolutely the best method we found in casting the next layer of epoxy. Instead of waiting for that layer to dry and sand it and then cast your next layer, we will wait for the perfect timing once the layer you just casted becomes tacky, that you cast your next layer. That bond between the two layers are absolutely the best bond you will ever get. So there's something I want to share with you guys in something we've been working extremely hard on. And that is by compiling a complete epoxy online masterclass. We get so much queries internationally of all the methods we're using. People keeps on asking us sanding methods, polishing methods, everything regarding how to build a epoxy table successfully. So we took the liberty in designing and filming a full 3-hour online course which you can watch in your own time, exactly how we manufacture and design epoxy tables. In this class, we are literally taking you by the hand and showing you from start to finish every single thing you need to know to build a epoxy table successfully. The course is 3 hours long.
For the curriculums and free lessons, go to bonsaiempire.com/courses. The best way to start your journey into bonsai art is to buy a starter kit and grow and train a bonsai tree yourself. This tree is a juniper plant which is about 4 years old. After pruning, wiring and repotting, this was the result. Now let's start from the beginning, by removing the top layer of soil to see where the first roots appear. We carefully lift the tree from its pot and remove loose soil using chopsticks. Now that we can see where the main roots appear, we can decide on the best front of the tree. We also take into consideration the shape and taper of the trunk and the position of the main branches. The next step is to carefully remove any dead branches, dangling growth, or dead foliage using scissors. This basic cleaning will reveal the structure of the plant, helping us in deciding how to design the tree.
just to make sure that the tree has enough moisture when we place it indoors. But it fit the tree, it fit the pot very well. So this video is also about the care and the maintenance of a ficus bonsai. So what we just showed was about pruning and a bit of wiring and the repotting as well. All these techniques we have separate videos on as well, so if you want to have more information on repotting, make sure to look up that video. We also have a video on ficus bonsai care with all the tips for how to care for a ficus. But I can tell you now what my care for this tree will be in the next months. So it's November right now, so we're moving into winter. So this tree will be kept indoors at a very bright position. So as much light as I can give it, this tree will get. So it's got a big window which is south facing, so maximum sun. And I'm making sure that the soil never dries out completely. So usually that means that I probably water it maybe 2 or 3 times a week, but it really depends. So don't water on a routine, but water on observation, meaning that you observe the soil, and just before it starts to dry out, you water it. And if you water it, do so very generously. So what I do, I actually bring it into my kitchen sink, water it a lot, let it drip out all the water, and then I place it back in front of the window. So I talked about placement, about watering. The other thing then is fertilizing. So I do fertilize this tree in winter, but a little bit less than I would do in the rest of the year when the tree is growing stronger. And I fertilize using a liquid standard fertilizer. Other than that, the tree doesn't need much. So good watering, a lot of sun, and as much humidity as I can give it. So